Hiya, today we're going to look at how we make a face scrubby out of cotton yarn, and this is from a 25-gram ball, so that will probably make you about 8 of those. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Now I'm using a 3.5mm hook. The reason I'm using a 3.5mm is because I know my tension's quite slack, so there's nothing wrong if you guys know that you've got good tight tension if using a 4mm. Okay, so I start with a little slip knot. Okay, and pull that through. Now, I want a little bit of a tail there, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and all I'm doing there, I'll show you again. All I do there is I put my hook through the slip knot, and then I pull this through. So I wrap it onto my hook and pull it through. Wrap it onto my hook and pull it through. Wrap it on, pull it through, wrap it on and pull it through. Now this is going to form the centre of my loop. Okay, so then what I do, I put back in to the first one. Oh, I think I've split that one. So that's a lesson that we can all split the yarn without meaning to. Okay, you come into the first one again, and then let that little tail go that way, and then I'm going to connect them back onto one another with a slip stitch. From that slip stitch I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to hook over here. I'm going to do what's called a treble in the UK, and I'm going to come back into the centre of that, and I'm going to try and get my tail to come the other side. Okay, so I'm holding on to that. So now on my hook, I've got 3 stitches. I hook round again, and I'm about to pull through the first 2. So now I've got 2 on my hook, and I wrap round and I pull through those 2. So now I've got 1 on my hook. 2 through the centre, hook that back through from the back, and now I've got 3 on my hook. 4, pull through those 2, and I've got 2 on my hook, and now I've got 1 on my hook. So I'll keep showing you that a few more times. Wrap round once more, through the centre, and now I've got 3 on my hook, 4, 2, and 1. I wrap round, and I come to the centre, and I take that back with me. I've got 3 on my hook, 4, now 2, now 1. Okay, you can see I'm keeping the tail from my slip knot in line. Okay, just make sure I'm going through the centre. 3, 4, 2, and 1. Now you're going to keep going along this until we get to 12. Okay, and the reason we keep that little tail there is going to become obvious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got another 3 to do. This little tail is now going to be able to be pulled, and we get a closed section there. We do 10, 11, and 12. Okay, once we finish, we can work that tail back in to get a nice secure tightness. If you need to, go back through and watch this again, but I'm going to go through how we do the treble again. Okay, but you can pause it, you can rewind it, and you can watch it again. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into this stitch here. Now, there's no real specific way of doing it, but I don't want to just come in and not, you can see I've left a bit of the yarn that side. Otherwise, it kind of makes it a bit gappy. Now, that's the most fiddly bit you're going to do, but you can see that by doing it and pulling that stitch through, I've kept it nice and neat. Now, do you remember the chain we did earlier? I just pull it through, and pull it through. Okay, now we're going to do what's called increase the circle. So for every stitch, I'm going to put 2 stitches into the top. Okay, and I'm still using a treble. Oops, you can see it is easy to accidentally catch the yarn. So there I've got 4, and now I've got 2. So I've got 1 stitch on and I wrap it round. Then I come through here and I pull another one through. So now I've got 3 stitches on my hook, and I pull that through, and I pull that through. Okay, and then I move on to the next stitch, the top of the next stitch, and I do the same thing. So I should have 12 stitches, now increasing to 24. Okay, now this is the bit you can definitely do whilst watching television. It's nice and quick. And as I say, for this one, if you need to, go back and watch it again. If you want to as well, you can change the colour at that point. I've got some that I've used up old scraps, and I call those waste knots because we just use up all the little bits to make a multicoloured one. But if you need to, slow this down, pause it, re-watch it. This is the bit where I get very conscious of how grubby my hands are because I've been out in the garden all day. There's only so much you can scrub. Now this is the bit I wanted to show you. You put 2 stitches in each of these. Now this is the start of that stitch, but we need to put an extra one in to fill that. Okay, and then we're going to pick that one up in such a way as to draw. Whoops, sorry, I did that incorrectly. Pick that one up with a slip stitch in such a way as to drag it over. Okay, so then we're not gappy. See, maybe I should have put one in right next to it, but okay. And then we do a chain of 3. And now at this point, we can decide where to put our next one. Okay, so with this one, we're not going to double each one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put 1 treble in one, and then 2 in the next, then 1 in the following one, and then 2 in the next, and 1. And 2. And 1. Okay, don't be worried about how quickly I go. But I think even after you've got home from work and done a few other chores, this is an ideal thing to do whilst watching your favourite programmes and starting to feel a little bit Christmassy, because these make the perfect low-cost gift. Okay, so for a ball of yarn or cotton of this size, I'm talking around about £1. So for £1 you can make 8 face scrubbies. I also think around about 5 in a pack go really well together. So if you intend on doing other things in your pack, like making a moisturiser or a body scrub, these just make it into a bit more of a special hamper, and for that little bit of extra cost it's not too bad. What I'm also doing is I'm putting together whole great big hampers, but I've made enough of these to make stocking fillers, perfect Secret Santa gifts as well. Now, I must have made over 100 in the last couple of weeks, just as something to do in the evenings. So again, don't worry too much about that. Okay, now at this point we've done that, so we've got a double there and a single there, but I'll just put an extra one in just to make sure that if I slightly squiff this stitch, it's not the end of the world. There we are. So you can see I've still managed to get that behind it. Pull it together. I'm going to take one more through, and what I'll do at this stage, I'm going to pull it through completely, and then I'm going to work it in. Okay, so it's knotted and secure, but at this point I just want it to look pretty and out of the way. I can trim it slightly closer, but I can just keep finding somewhere to pull it through. And then that way it's all incorporated and a little bit neater. I have seen them with little hooks put on, and if that's what you wanted, you just have to chain it around the back, and then you could do that. But this is a very simple way of working it in, like that. You can see you've got the scrubby, and you can add it to several other colours that you might want to make, and put it into a little Christmas hamper pack. If you'd like any other ideas, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll just keep building from there. Thanks very much for your time today. Thanks.